High vibrations, sweet babies. So I'm very quickly going to tap into, ooh, interesting. Okay, so fair warning, I'm a little sleepy. Your girl's a little bit sleepy. So I really was debating on whether I actually wanted to pull cards right now anyway, but I was about to drive off. If you can't tell in the audio, like I know sometimes the audio sounds a little different. I'm in my vehicle because I like to pull up to nice spots with a view, with my coffee, and just feel into the energies. So I'm gonna set this down real quick, so I don't want this to be super like noisy and loud for you, so give me a sec. Okay, that should be good, and hopefully I'm still nice and audible for you. So I just want to quickly pull some cards because we are going into a Mercury Retrograde. Everybody's favorite transit, I swear. Just kidding. We all have a lot of like weird doom type energy around Mercury Retrograde, but like it's really not that bad. Like, at the end of the day, if your Mercury retrograde disagreements, understandings, arguments cause you to, like, have some real blow-ups or to, like, I don't know, break up with somebody or something along those lines, let's just keep it a buck. That relationship is probably really fragile because Mercury retrograde is a really great teacher. And, yes. Okay. This is exactly what I was just, like, feeling into, these cards that came out. So, oh, and this one really wanted to come out. I kept seeing it as I was shuffling, and then it finally came out. So, what do we have here? I am going to use my other cards. I wasn't sure how many decks I was going to use, but here we are. I start pulling, and I'm like, oh, we got to pull more. Ooh, I'm a little all over the place. That is kind of, I think, going to be the collective overall energy is, that the energy feels scattered. There may be some disconnect when it comes to conversations. Like, I don't know, it just feels like conversations may be tricky. We know this to be true during Mercury retrograde. And for those of you who aren't very familiar with astrology or any of that stuff, and you've probably heard the buzzword Mercury retrograde before. Like, if you're here, you at least probably heard that. But it's a 3-week time period, and there's also a shadow period at the beginning and at the end. So you can think of it like a month long of frustrating conversations, disagreements, and just things being lost in translation, people not like picking up what you're putting down, essentially. But 333 here is showing up for us collective around the Mercury retrograde, and specifically it's coming up really to teach us a lot about, it's a teacher. This Mercury retrograde is a teacher. This might show up in the form of a specific person, conversations with a specific person, but ultimately this Mercury retrograde, more than anything, is a teacher. The energy of Mercury is very much student. It's very much lessons. It's very much learning. It's air. It's intellect. It's information. It's data. And usually I feel as though when we have Mercury retrograde show up, it's a lot about how we're having conversations and the way that we're, why is commuting? Commuting actually might be significant for us collective. If some of you are commuters or you have a long drive to work, you might find this next month here, there might be some difficulties with travel or issues coming up with that. Make sure your cars are all well taken care of. Your vehicles are all taken care of before this Mercury retrograde really takes its full effect, because I just think that anything revolving things like transportation, communication, information, movement, not like physical action, but the movement of like information or things going from point A to point B. There just might be some hiccups, there might be some stressors, and if you have to take care of these things in the midst of Mercury retrograde, it might feel particularly more challenging. I will say that I don't really see too much tension or difficulty or challenges in the cards. What I do here is interesting. Instead of see, which is my usual way of divination, there's definitely this energy around conversation, a conversation being had, or just sort of, yeah. Okay, let me slow down. So like I was saying before, 333 is showing up to say that we have a divine teacher at play here. In this next month, we might meet with somebody, connect with somebody, or have a conversation with someone that becomes extremely, it's a really good educational experience for us. We learn a lot from that experience. This feels like you're going to be really joyful. This is not the Mercury retrograde where you're going to be tense and pent up and stressed out and annoyed and whatever. You may be a little bit scattered. You might be a little bit all over the place. Just be aware of that and allow yourself to feel that and understand that you're still fine. Like, you're still okay. You're still going to get what you need to get done. You're still going to have joy. You're still going to have connection. Like, even if you're not showing up in your best self, and I do feel like air element here is showing up with like the mind. You may feel like a little brain fog. Just things like that. And that's okay. I think you're all overall going to be in good spirits. I think you're going to be smiling a lot. I think you're going to have a lot of joy. I do see that there is an indication here for travel. Like I said, you could either be a commuter who has to drive for a job or every day for work. I do think, and at this early morning hour, there's a lot of commuters driving past where I am on the road. So it's kind of giving me that vibe. It's just like early mornings, commuter vibe, taking a drive on the way to work kind of energy. And if that's not the case, I think there's conversations about travel or conversations about trips. If you're going on a trip, I am going on a trip because I am so great at timing that I planned my October tour during a Mercury retrograde. But I digress. If you are traveling at all, I see that the only thing that really is being pushed here is, and that's exactly it. There's this energy of you feeling divinely pushed. Okay, you might be tired, you might be scattered, you might be a little all over the place, a little foggy, but Spirit is saying don't give up, stay motivated. Billboards might be significant. Staying patient is the big key here, okay? And it is a key. The way to really move through this Mercury retrograde in your highest and greatest good is to really understand patience. This is going to be a retrograde that teaches you a lesson around patience and why you need to wait just a few more months. Good things come to those who wait. I'm seeing 11 is very significant. I do feel like 1111 is going to be very significant for us collective. I think this is going to be towards the end, if not the end of Mercury retrograde. To be honest, I forget the exact dates. I'm trying to do the math right now in my head. And I think, regardless of whether it's still that shadow period or not, the full effects of what Mercury will have taught us will have been downloaded and received by 1111. There's some kind of something significant on September 11th and March 11th. Look at those dates. I am feeling like this is past tense. So these aren't dates in the future in 2026. This feels like past dates that might have been significant. And what was ending around that time? What was coming to a close around that time? It's very significant for something here. I'm actually curious what that is about, to be honest. What was that ending during those times or those months that was really significant? What do they need to know in order for this lesson to be really learned? Find out more information. Don't overwork yourself. Okay. Caution. This feels a little bit like red flag energy. It's like you were noticing at those times red flags. That's not the card that came out, but that's how I'm feeling. And I'm actually surprised that card didn't pop out, but I'm gonna trust it. So yeah, oh, exactly. I'm gonna trust it. Something in that time frame, September 11th to March 11th, in that time frame, something was coming to an end. Maybe a couple things are coming to an end, but something significant was closing out. It was either removing itself, or you were like, I don't like this. Something was coming to an end. And this was really significant for you to understand that sometimes being overly cautious or just trusting, like, in this feeling of, I don't like this doesn't feel good to me, I need to be more careful, I'm gonna look at these red flags, something feels sneaky, something feels off. You felt into that, okay? And it feels like whatever that was removing itself or ending in your situation was a huge, and I cannot emphasize this enough, distraction. It was the biggest fucking distraction from your highest and greatest good, and it is so divinely orchestrated that it was removed. So don't question it. And I don't think you are, but this is just validation from spirit. Don't worry about it. Don't second guess it. Don't even worry too much about your part in it, because I know we've got an accountability crew that thinks about those types of things. All right, collective, no. You don't really even need me to say this to you, but I am just feeling really urged by spirit to remind you that this was not the situation that was meant for you. It might have looked really much like it was meant for you. It might have really seemed like it was, I don't know. There's an energy here of two-faced. Something being two-faced. There's also energy or symbolism here for, not energy, symbolism for sure, of pets. Something to do with pets. And whatever this was, it was bringing you into a softer place. It was bringing you into a much more, what I want to say is like malleable place. Either you were connecting with animals, something to do with your pets, or something also around the same time. And you might not have noticed how much these were like really happening at the very same time, but because of their timing, there's a lot to do with time here, okay, and timing. Because of the timing, it was putting you in a place where you were like, I want more love, or I like the way it feels to be soft and loving and kind. I don't want to have to be guarded. I don't want to have to feel like somebody being sneaky or being deceptive. I don't want to have to find more information. I don't want to, blah, 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 blah. And it's because of this like really, really sweet, tender, loving side of yourself that you were really in this place of where something else that was ending was like good riddance, like goodbye. You know what I mean? It's like, this doesn't, you know, you're removing yourself and you might be trying to take a dramatic exit. This could be a job. This could be you like kicked out a roommate. I'm just being so like I'm just listing very wide different options because I think this showed up very differently for each person. But at the end of the day, like, you had other things going on that you loved. I'm just going to be honest, like, you loved a lot more. There was something else going on under the surface where you were like, this matters more to me, and I love this, and this affects my heart, and I'm actually a really loving, kind person, and I need places to have that and experience that. Something about the pet is significant. I don't know exactly why, but you probably do. I know from my own experience, where when it came time for this other experience to, like, close and finish itself out, you were just like, you're not even fucking loving, dude. Like, you're not even kind. Like I said, this could be a job. This could be a boss that was like, wow, like, you're quitting on me, like, and shocked about it. And you're just like, dude, there are so many other things going on in everyone's life right now, in my life, like, whatever. And this, like, you're not even a good employee. Like, you just don't. You're not even very nice. Like, that's the kind of energy. It's like, bye. And it's just really significant. 11 here again. This was a distraction. This was a distraction. This is somebody who struggled with addiction, gambling, and bad finances, if not all three. This was a situation that was going to put you in that energy. If you are not somebody who struggles with addiction, gambling, or bad finances, then the situation was going to put you in that vibrational frequency through other people, through lack of resources, through just bad vibrations. I don't like to just say it outright, like bad vibration, but if you were in a if you're in a low vibrational frequency, you're more susceptible to other low vibrational frequency experiences. And this could have affected your finances. This could have affected your sobriety even. It could have really pushed you in a shitty spot. Maybe it did lower you, and it put you in a distraction from what you really wanted. And what I'm seeing here is that you are really committed to something very serious. I want to see what that is. I'm nosy. I'm feeling nosy today. What is the collective trying to commit to? What things were distracting? Oh, friends, guess what card just came out? The red flags you ignore will come back to bite you later. Did I not just say I'm surprised that card didn't show up? And this is the card Intuition. This was a distraction from your intuition. This might have been such a fucking important moment. Oh my God, friends, I love this. This was probably so important for you because what really looked good on the surface, I'm getting a lot of as above, so below energy. What looked really good on the surface did not match what was underneath, right? Remember we were talking about two-faced? Something did not match underneath. Somebody was wearing a mask. Somebody was wearing a mask and it slipped and it fell and you saw it and you caught it and you were like, I'm not going to wait and see how this shows up later. I'm not going to wait for this to bite me in the ass and show up in my life and cause problems. I'm trusting in my intuition. You were in a soft spot. You were in a place where you were relaxed and at peace and your shoulders dropped and you relaxed and you were feeling love and you were feeling softness and you were feeling connected. And for some reason, pets was like important in that time. And when this energy, this negative, low vibrational energy showed up, that was a distraction and just putting you in a low vibrational frequency, you immediately were like, nah, nope. I see the red flags. I'm not going to let this come back and fuck me up. I'm not doing it. You trusted your intuition and you are committed to your intuition. You are committed. You've become in full commitment and full agreement with your divine guidance system, friends. This is beautiful. Guardian angels, a lost one watches over you. That's who you're committed to. Okay, underneath, family reunion, family tree, and ancestry. You are committed to something revolving your roots. Either it's just getting grounded and being grounded. I don't think it is just that. I think there's a lot of ancestral things showing up for you. So whether this is healing ancestral wounds, healing ancestral patterns, healing things within your family dynamic even, it could have shown you right? Because nothing just happens by accident. So whatever came up during that time frame, remember we're talking about within the dates March 11th to September 11th, which when I tell you, friends, is like the most accurate timeline for me personally. Like, the tea is so hot. This situation was a really huge spotlight for something that you wanted to heal within your family tree. And it brought awareness to something that was really broken or damaged, or something within your ancestral lineage. This could even be, no, it feels very familial. It feels very family. It feels very, yes. And I do feel like commitment is a huge, huge thing. I feel like there's a lot of conversations around being committed. Don't immediately assume that this has something to do with romantic relationships, because I think this is just about you being serious. This is about you staying dedicated. This is about you being an example of what healthy commitment looks like. This could be to anything, but I think in specific, you were able to realize that you can have a healthy commitment, and it's actually in your ancestral healing. You are the ancestor you are the person your ancestors prayed for. Literally, they may have been on their knees praying over you, watching over you, and they could have also been praying for a cycle breaker. Please let this granddaughter be the one who does not have to fear her husband. Please let this grandson be the one who breaks the chains of poverty. Please let this great-great-granddaughter feel safe in her home environment. Please, like, these were the prayers of your ancestors. They may have known it was not possible for their timeline. They may have known that their time to learn their lessons and break their chains came and went, and they needed somebody else to continue doing this very important, beautiful, beautiful work. Your ancestors prayed for you. They prayed for you, and they continue to watch over you, and any prayer that was said with your name and in your honor during any of their walks on earth, they still exist. They are still with you. Those prayers are always going to be whispered over your aura. Yes, every single moment of your life. Energy does not just disappear. That vibrational frequency of prayers, of divine intervention, of cosmic shelter, that is always going to exist. And it's important to continue to keep that vibration and strengthen your aura doing those same kinds of prayers. And I think connecting to whatever your ancestral lineage was praying to or believing in is going to be really healing for you. But even just your roots, like your heritage, I feel like that is also interesting work that you could look into and get involved in. But I'm just not really seeing like you need to go on some kind of huge quest. I don't really feel like that's the energy here. I think what Mercury Retrograde is really here to show collective is a lesson in patience. That's going to show up very specific for each person. And that person just flashed their lights in my face. I don't think they meant to, but you have my attention. Anywho, patience. I'm feeling nosy. Usually I just like, oh, whatever, we'll talk about it and then see what happens. And if we talk about it, we don't. Patience in your enlightenment. Okay, so this Mercury feels like a lot of upper energy. It feels like a lot of, you've been doing the spiritual work, you've been asking and praying for the spiritual guidance. You might feel a little cloudy as you go through this Mercury retrograde, but fear not, friends. Fear not, okay? Because this is really going to be a lesson, like a really beautiful time for learning why you had to do the things you had to do, why you had to trust your intuition around the things that you did, why things, it's just a lot of clarity amidst the fogginess. Okay, but this is going to tell you to slow down and be patient. Trust and surrender to the divine timing of things. This has really been a lesson that's coming up, or a message has been coming up in a lot of my readings, so I'm really going to stick with that. And just go ahead and urge you to be patient in your evolutionary process. You might want to like know exactly what's going to happen through the next couple portals. We have 11:11. Oh, I hope my pants weren't making too much noise as I was rubbing on the side of this. But anyway, you might be really excited to see what 11:11 has in store for you and what might come to life. I feel like there's an energy of wanting to hear from somebody or wanting to talk to somebody in specific, and there's just like this weird wishful energy around like, am I going to hear from them? Am I going to hear from them? And then Mercury retrograde comes up to like literally show you all the distractions in your life and all of the ways that you eliminated distractions in your life, how you've been connecting more and more, and how you need to just trust. You need to just trust this process. The timing of the universe is always on time. It is always, always on time. Yes, the card just showed up. It is not the right time. Do not try to contact somebody in particular during the Mercury retrograde. I cannot stress this enough. Be patient. Be patient. That's the energy. Yes, you're trying to manifest something. Tell the universe exactly what you want. Talk to the universe, baby, not these people. Talk to the universe, and when things get tricky and there's miscommunications or misunderstandings, it is what it is. That's okay. It happens. Mercury is, yes, give it time. Everything in divine timing. I cannot make this shit up. You know when I say that to you, that we're in it, babe. We're in it. Okay, so be patient. Whatever is delaying your manifestation, it is because the universe is saying, I need to make it better. I need to make it bigger. You need to learn another thing so that you can contain this and sustain this. It's not good enough yet. You have to speak bolder. Pray bolder prayers, right? Yes. You're not thinking big enough yet. You're praying on something, you're manifesting something, you're wanting something, but Mercury retrograde is saying, slow down. Wait. Don't get overzealous. You know, you learn things, you've read the signs, you've avoided things, you're avoiding distractions and whatever it is, but trust me, not yet. Trust me. Leave room for more. Leave room for bigger blessings. Trust in the divine timing and the process of things. Okay, so that's my message for you, collective. For Mercury retrograde, I'm sending you lots of love, and don't be afraid. Don't even speak negativity about what this Mercury retrograde is going to be, because like I said, I think you're actually going to be in a lot of good spirits. I think that whoever you're connecting with is really an enlightening connection in the next couple weeks here. It's really going to show you either how you've grown, or it's going to give you opportunities to put these lessons and these practices, or put these lessons to practice. Okay, so you may have learned a lot of things, but now it's the practorial time. Okay, so you're going to have to actually like put some of these things that you've learned into action. Some of these mindsets around being peace and in harmony and tranquility and communicating on, I don't know, it just feels like a different way of communicating, or whatever it is. You just have to trust in the divine timing of things and be patient. Okay? So that is my Mercury retrograde energy reading for you, friends. I'm sending you so much love in. I'm actually so excited for the 11:11 portal, and I think the collective energy is too, because it really does feel like this very playful, light, whimsical energy that shows up so divinely ordinanced right after such heavy eclipses of the soul. Each year we have these very deep eclipses of the soul. 17 and 37 are also showing up here. Yes. And it is just when you are able to be in this awareness with the cosmic flow, like you are in a new form of harmony with your path. And you don't want to miss any of that. Actually, that's something that I did say to somebody, and I think it's relevant and significant, actually, because it was during that time frame, those dates that we were talking about. And I'm going to share it with you, even though it is a little bit more of my personal life, and I don't usually give like exact conversations on my personal life, but that's fine, because this person sucks. There was somebody who's very eager, very like rushing forward, trying to push forward, trying to, in an unhealthy, untimely manner, progress things and move things along very fast. And what I said to them was, look, we're on similar journeys, but I have been on mine a little bit longer. And I think that it would be an injustice to your journey, to your personal evolution, to rush that process. I expressed that I did not want to rob them of their journey of discovering fully their own individuality and what they really have to create their own sense of self, their own life. Like, that's an experience, and that's a beautiful journey that people need to take, and I wouldn't want to take anyone away from that or be a distraction, right? Like, that whole energy, like, I was very much like, I don't want you to lose this experience of really loving your own self, enjoying your own company, and your own journey of being an individual. I've been reading the book, well, actually, I finished the book, Single on Purpose, and this was just like, as you can tell, this was like a possible romantic situation gone wrong, but I basically just expressed like, look, you clearly need to go on this journey, and I don't want to take you from that. I don't want to rush you on that. I don't want to distract you from being your full individual self. And I think a lot of people try to do that. They try to just find some form of disassociating and distracting from the challenge of really becoming an individual person, being your own self, whether this is from a really tight-knit community or family, right? That was the energy that was showing up, a lot of family energy. This could be codependent romantic relationships, what have you. There's a lot of unweaving and untangling. Sometimes people are completely enmeshed, right? And that is a whole journey and process of detangling that cannot be rushed. In the song by Trevor Hall, You Can't Rush Your Healing, that was a big song that was showing up, and I kept sending it to this person because I was like, please stop trying to just say, I'm good, I'm ready, I'm all set. Like, no, you're not, babe. You're not. Like, take your time, and I won't be here waiting when you're done. Sorry, not sorry. Take your time, heal thyself, for real. And don't think you are just gonna, do a little quick retreat center weekend getaway and come back brand spanking new. Be for fucking real. Sorry, but no. You need to actually sit with yourself. 333. Yes, 3333. Be in full receptivity mode of the lessons of the universe. Connect with your divine guidance system and your higher teachers. Like, this is the time for that. And anything that feels like a distraction from your highest and greatest self and your highest and greatest good, you feel it and you know it within your gut, within your heart and your soul. And you know now more than ever that you need to trust that. And anybody who is not in flow and in energetic agreement with that is causing you so much resistance in your energy field and in your aura and in your movements and everything, that it doesn't fit, it doesn't work, it doesn't compute, it doesn't line up, and that's okay. And you have just been learning to allow that to be okay. You're done forcing things, you're done pretending to see potential in things that are just not fruitful. You are in full trust and agreement that your divine path and the divine timing of your life is going to continue to put you exactly where you need to be and who you need to be with. So, friends, like I said, this does not have to be a romantic experience in your case. This could be a lot of different things and show up in a lot of different ways. And through this next Mercury retrograde, I do feel like you're going to have a lot of experiences of lessons of why it was important to say no, or to be patient, or to reserve your energy, or protect your energy, or pull back from things, or whatever it was. You're going to see the lesson in that, and the lesson in the divine timing of things. And really be aware of what is distracting you. If you're feeling all over the place and scattered, notice that. Notice when that shows up. Notice what things put you in an energy of distraction or fogginess, and when you're not feeling clear, notice that. Trust that. Investigate that. Be curious about that. Mercury wants you to put on your little detective's hat and be like, what's going on here? You know, like that's and make changes as necessary. Maybe you just notice things, and then after this Mercury retrograde shows up, I think, you know, we had some really intense transits last year. We had the Mercury retrograde, we had Venus retrograde, we had a lot of things all at once. And I think that this eclipse season, as difficult as it might be, as much loss as there might have been, it was a little bit more gentle on the spirit, a little bit less of a complete tower moment. Okay, I think there's a lot of karmic balance that was showing up, but we didn't have to lose everything. We didn't have to have a complete tower moment where we rebuilt from the ground up. I think that this eclipse season is showing us, you know, okay, this is what we wanted to change, this is what we wanted to let go of, but Mercury's like, hold up, be patient. Hold up. Let's get some more information. Hang on a second. You seem a little distracted. Let's wait. So trust that. Trust that if the cosmic energies are like, wait, hold up. Pause. Hit those brakes. Hang on a second. Trust that. Okay? Don't resist that. Allow that to happen. Okay. I think I've I think I've said all I need to say on this topic. I'm going to leave it at that. I hope this gives you enough insight. Remember that I really do put a lot of like love and energy into my readings, and if you find them at all useful or insightful, definitely go ahead and drop a comment or leave a thumbs up. It really does mean so much to me whenever I see like my 1 or 2 thumbs up on the video. I don't have a very big audience, but I know that I'm reaching people who are actually really wanting and needing some insights or some guidance. And I know that I have a lot of people in my personal life who are supportive and listen to these, and it really means so much that you're here and that you listen along. I'm sending you all of my love in, and I'll talk to you soon.